You feel it the moment it starts. A small pressure. Quiet. Easy to ignore. So you ignore it. You are in the middle of something. A game, a meeting, a movie you refuse to pause. And the signal is there, steady and insistent. And you make the same decision millions of people make every single day. You decide to wait. But something is already happening inside your body. Something your bladder was never designed to tolerate for long. And the longer you wait, the harder your body pushes back. This is what actually happens when you hold your pee. Your urinary system runs continuously, every hour of every day, without you thinking about it once. It begins at the kidneys, two fist-sized organs sitting just below your rib cage, one on each side of your spine. Every single minute, your kidneys filter roughly 3 liters of blood. They pull out the waste products, the excess salts, the substances your body has already used and no longer needs. What remains after that filtration is urine, water, urea, creatinine, dissolved minerals, everything your body wants to eliminate. That urine doesn't stay in the kidneys. It travels downward through 2 narrow tubes called ureters, one from each kidney, and collects in a bladder. The bladder is a hollow muscular organ. Empty, it is roughly the size of a pear. Full, it expands to the size of a grapefruit. The walls of your bladder are lined with stretch receptors, specialized nerve endings that monitor exactly how much the walls are being stretched. The moment your bladder holds around 150 to 200 milliliters, about the volume of a small cup of coffee, those receptors fire a signal upward to your brain. The signal is simple. It is time. That is the first urge you feel. Not painful, not urgent, just a notification. Your brain receives it, acknowledges it, and, if you decide to wait, sends a signal back down telling the muscles of your pelvic floor to stay contracted, to hold. And for a while, your body obeys. At around 300 milliliters, the signal intensifies. Your brain is no longer gently reminding you. It is insisting. The stretch receptors are firing more frequently. The muscles holding everything in place are working harder. You start shifting in your seat, crossing your legs, losing concentration on whatever you were doing. At 400 to 500 milliliters, your body has entered what urologists call urgent retention. Every few seconds, the ring of muscle at the base of your bladder, the internal urethral sphincter, is fighting a mounting pressure it was not designed to sustain. Victor Nitti, a urologist at NYU Langone, has described this threshold as the point where voluntary control begins to actively cost the body significant muscular effort. You're no longer just waiting. You're working. Most people give in here, and they should. But what happens if they don't? Beyond 600 milliliters, the discomfort becomes impossible to compartmentalize. Pain radiates into the lower abdomen. The lower back aches. Concentration collapses. Your body has redirected an enormous portion of its attention to one single task, keeping that sphincter closed. In extreme cases documented in emergency medicine literature, bladders have been measured holding over 1,000 milliliters before a patient sought help. At those volumes, the risk of rupture becomes real. A ruptured bladder is a surgical emergency. Urine spills into the abdominal cavity. The resulting infection, called peritonitis, can be life-threatening without immediate intervention. Rupture from voluntary holding alone is vanishingly rare in healthy people. Your body has a failsafe. Before the bladder reaches a critical breaking point, your involuntary muscles override your voluntary control entirely. The sphincter releases, not because of weakness, because your nervous system has decided the structural integrity of your bladder is more important than your plans. But here's the part most people never consider. The danger of holding your pee is not rupture. Rupture is the dramatic edge case, the story that gets told. The real risks are quieter, more cumulative, and far more common. A full bladder is warm. It is dark. It is rich in exactly the nutrients bacteria need to multiply. A landmark 2014 study by Linda Brubaker and Alan Wolf at Loyola University Chicago, using expanded quantitative culture techniques, found that even healthy bladders are not sterile. They contain microbial communities that shift in response to conditions. When urine sits stagnant for too long, those communities can grow into concentrations large enough to trigger a urinary tract infection, a UTI. UTIs are among the most common bacterial infections on the planet. They cause burning, urgency, and pelvic pain. Left untreated, they travel upward from the bladder through the ureters and into the kidneys themselves. A kidney infection, called pyelonephritis, can cause permanent organ damage. In severe cases, it can cause sepsis. The second risk is structural. Your bladder is a muscle. Like any muscle, it has an optimal working range. When you chronically overstretch it, when you routinely push past the point of discomfort and train yourself to hold far beyond what your body signals, the muscle loses elasticity. It stops contracting fully. It stops emptying completely. Research published in the journal Neurourology and Urodynamics has consistently shown that chronic incomplete emptying, called urinary retention, creates a reservoir of stagnant urine that remains in the bladder even after you think you have finished. That residual urine becomes a breeding ground for the same bacteria that cause UTIs. Retention leads to infection. Infection causes inflammation. Inflammation impairs the very muscle function that should be clearing the bladder. The cycle feeds itself. And when the bladder fails to empty properly, there's one more risk, further upstream. Urine can reflux. It can flow backward up the ureters toward the kidneys. This condition, vesicoureteral reflux, exposes the kidneys to bacteria-laden urine under pressure, and over time, can cause scarring and permanent damage to organs your body cannot replace. All of this from something that started with a quiet, easy-to-ignore pressure. So what is actually safe? Urologists generally consider holding urine for 2 to 4 hours during waking hours to be well within normal range for a healthy adult. Your kidneys produce roughly 1 to 2 milliliters of urine per minute under normal hydration, meaning your bladder fills at a manageable, predictable rate. A 3 or 4 hour hold puts you at the comfortable upper edge of capacity, not in dangerous territory. Overnight holds of 6 to 8 hours are also normal. During sleep, your body releases a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, ADH, which signals the kidneys to concentrate urine and produce significantly less of it. That is why you can sleep 8 hours and feel only mild urgency in the morning, when the same 8 hours awake would have sent you to the bathroom 3 or 4 times. The problem is not the occasional long hold. The problem is the habit. If you routinely ignore the first signal, the second, and the third, if you spend months or years training your bladder to hold far beyond what is signaling, you are gradually degrading the very feedback system your body relies on to protect itself. The stretch receptors that should fire clearly at 200 milliliters begin to adapt to chronic overdistension. The signals become blunted. You stop feeling the early warnings. You only feel the emergency. There is also a color your body uses to communicate something your brain often ignores. Pale yellow urine, the color of light straw, means your kidneys are filtering efficiently and your hydration is adequate. Dark yellow or amber means your kidneys are concentrating heavily, pulling as much water back into the bloodstream as possible because there is not enough to spare. That is your body telling you it needs water. Not eventually. Now. Brown or pink urine, cloudiness, or an unusual smell are not gradients of normal. They are signals that something else is happening: blood, infection, metabolic change, and they deserve a doctor's attention. Not a second glass of water and a decision to wait and see. Your urinary system has been communicating with you every day of your life. The pressure you are feeling right now, or the one you ignored this morning, or during that meeting last week, is the same signal your kidneys and bladder have been sending since the day you were born. Calibrated, consistent, reliable. It is not an inconvenience. It is information. You feel it the moment it starts. A small pressure. Quiet. This time, you already know exactly what it is asking for.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a comment below with your thoughts and let me know what topic you'd like to see in my next video.